The thing with characters like Mio is that they're wildly misunderstood.
How has it been like to work with Hazelight, with Joseph?
When you have that to work with as a director, professionally, the bar is that low. Mio was a lot harsher than she is in the final game.
How fun was it to channel the dark side?
It was so fun.
What part of Mio was your favorite?
The part where... Thanks for having me.
This is exciting. First of all, I just want to say congratulations on the huge success of Split Fiction. Over 2 million copies. People have been enjoying it. Like, how do you feel?
Oh, it's been amazing. I think so. Hazelight, they were really confident. I think everyone knew that the game would be received really well, but you never know how well. I'm floored. And I love hearing from all the fans. I've been speaking to a lot of fans about how they find it, and it's been such a joy. It's really exciting.
Yeah, it is truly exciting. What a fun, fantastic game. I had such a great time. I recently finished it. I had a great time. And this game had, like, we were talking earlier actually about how the game had a premiere, and you both went. Yeah, and it's so cool to see a video game getting a premiere. What was that experience like? Like, what did you get to witness? Meeting people, how was it all like?
Oh, it was actually really fun. I think, like, first of all, it was just a nice party with everyone who made the game. It was really fun to just celebrate it. But it was it was out of this world because we did it at the Bioscandia, which is this beautiful cinema in Stockholm with this vintage flair. So already there's this kind of element of, oh damn, we've got to show up. And on the back, so each wing of the cinema, because the cinema has like really fancy spacious wings, one side of it was like the Mio world and the other side of it was the Zoe world, and all of the decorations, the lights, the games, I don't know, food. No, it wasn't the food, but everything was decorated. One side being sci-fi, one side being adventure. So it was a whole interactive experience. But it was just mostly lovely to see the game in this film cut because, you know, most of us haven't had time to really play it through. And it's just nice to be able to see what everyone has done and like what the final product is. And now we can go and play the game once we have the time.
That's the biggest thing. But yeah, I'm so happy that there was like a film cut of the game that you got to see, and it made sense for the most part. And you know, it's just so much cool stuff about the game, that new gameplay, there's different things happening. People get to experience all these different events. Do you go and watch live streams and reactions of how people are perceiving these moments and levels?
I have popped in on a couple live streams. I'm just like spying a little bit, lurking about on the Hazelight Discord server every now and then.
Oh, wow.
I'm just curious. I want to see the reaction. I'm really interested in it. But I haven't had a lot of time to watch full streams. I'll like jump in every now and then.
Mio is such an interesting character. She has like hard exterior. She doesn't allow anybody to get in. Doesn't want to be friends really. But Zoe is like a complete opposite. Like for you, like is it a much fun time to play a character like Mio, or is opposite a more interesting way? Like has it been much more fun playing a role like Mio?
I mean, so interestingly, a lot of the work that I've done as an actor until I played Mio was characters like Mio, someone with some form of a hard exterior. And myself personally, I don't have that. I would definitely naturally say that I'm a Zoe, and I would gravitate towards playing Zoe myself. So I don't know what it is that draws me to those characters, or that casting directors and directors see that I can play those characters. I think maybe it's because I don't have the hard exterior that it's extremely fun to play with it. And I really enjoy it because I think the thing with characters like Mio is that they're wildly misunderstood, and what we might perceive as hostility is just a safety mechanism, and it's born out of fear. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, and I enjoy playing with the levels of fear and how anger can be a way to protect oneself from exposing them and from being vulnerable. And I really find that interesting.
Yeah, it is explored so well here. And initially I was like, okay, Mio is like, I knew how Mio was like immediately when you get into the scene. I'm like, okay, I know this character. There's a lot definitely inside her that we will experience, get to see over time. And we did get to see over time. Like there's so much that she uncovers, and there's so many
Right.
beautiful moments that we talk about later. But one of the biggest thing is like she's a much more into sci-fi. She's a sci-fi person.
Yeah.
I am wondering if Kaya is also into sci-fi or where she lands.
Yes, I would definitely say that I'm more of a sci-fi girl than a fantasy girl. And I
Wow.
think it's just because I love a political thriller and I
Ooh, okay.
love social commentary. And it's not that fantasy can't hold those two ideas, but I think that sci-fi and especially dystopian sci-fi, where it's set in the future, it's like
Yes.
it's a safe way to explore modern current ideas, political ideas, take them to an extreme and go, okay, what do we think about it if this is set 300 years from now? What what does
Right.
misogyny look like 300 years from now, and how what can we learn from this exploration about how we operate in the modern day, you know? And I
Right.
find that element, like sci-fi as a genre, can hold those commentaries very, very well. You know, there's a reason why the Matrix is such a
Of
it's
course.
like it's at the core of so much social commentary. I was studying the Matrix at my degree nonstop.
Oh my God.
Why I'm personally drawn to sci-fi as well.
Makes sense. Sci-fi is like I'm so much drawn to sci-fi as well. It's just there's something about it that it just everything just works. I am also wondering, like, is there a recent sci-fi movie that you watched that you really enjoyed?
I mean, Dune. I like the Dune series. I know,
Yeah.
okay, I would say I preferred the first Dune over the second Dune, which I know is not
Ooh.
necessarily a popular opinion.
I mean,
Um,
I understand that completely, to be honest.
I don't know. I love the Dune series. I love the cinematography, how vast it is. The acting is superb as well. Um, just trying to think of if I've watched any other sci-fi recently. I'll have to get back to you on that.
And you guys have talked about in an interview which came from his life, where
Mm,
about the audition and how you guys took the scene of the lift for the longest time, and because
yeah,
both of you didn't flip the the script to see what's on
yeah,
the other side. Um,
yeah.
it just immediately works. You guys together from the very get-go have worked so well together.
Yeah, I think that was really clear. So Elsie and I met for the first time in this audition waiting room in London, Chinatown. And it's just that awkward thing of you sit in an audition room and you kind of scan the room and you're like, okay, who is auditioning for my part and who is auditioning for the part that I'm chemistry reading with? And we clocked eyes and we're like,
Hmm.
are you Elsie? And we do that thing where okay, maybe Elsie's not gonna say it. I'll say I did that thing where I pretend like I didn't search up Elsie beforehand because we knew who we were chemistry reading with, so I knew exactly what she looked like. So I was like, "Oh, are you reading with me?" I knew she was reading with me. And that chemistry read we had, Hazelight, cheeky muggers, had sent us a new script that morning, and they were like, "We
Wow.
need them to read this scene. They don't need to learn the lines." And we were like, "Okay." And Elsie was like, "Maybe we should run these lines," and we ran it, so we knew what we had to do in the
Oh.
scene. We then did the scene, and we were like, "Nailed it! Great, we've got the part." And and then that's when we realized that we hadn't realized that the other side of the A4 paper had the rest of it. Normally it would be humiliating, but because we both had prepared it, it wasn't like in the moment. Like we prepared the scene. It was just hilarious, and I think that the team could tell. I think the team could tell that we didn't take ourselves too seriously. We didn't take each other too seriously. That we were gonna have fun, and I think that's really important for Hazelight.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a cool thing about how it all comes together in such a great way because they saw you working in that way, and now they're like, okay, this perfectly works. This is how they want it.
Yeah, this is
Is that a
chaos, and I want
chaos?
it.
Perfect chaos is exactly what we need. Is there a scene? And now I'm very curious. Is there a scene that you guys shot which took the longest for you guys to see? Not because it was difficult, but because you guys just couldn't keep it together.
There are so many examples of this. There are so many. Oh Lord. Okay. I think the first thing that comes to mind is there's a scene and it's a side story, spoiler alert. I think it's relatively early in the game with these giants. Did you play that side story?
Yes,
The
of
giants.
course.
And the way that you escape that side story is that there's a giant with a fishing rod or something
Right.
along those lines. And we were trying to trigger like the fishing rod or like twitching to make him pull us out of the water or something. And the way to do that is like, so Joseph and the technical team, they set up these sea sand tripods to like act as though we were holding the middle of the fishing rod, and we had to essentially grind on it. It was like we were like squatting, like trying to, and it essentially looked like we were we were stimulating a massive penis, and it took us so long to get it, and we had to be like, Zoe, quick, work harder, Zoe. That was hard. That was really hard. I think we eventually got there. That was funny. Well, I can't hear you.
I mean, perfectly normal circumstance that happens in scene.
Oh yeah, totally normal.
Totally normal.
Oh, there were so many moments like that throughout the game, though, and I think we were corpsing more often than not. Not as the actors, but like it was the technical team, unprofessional lot. Like we would be working and they'd be fucking having a great time. But yeah, no, it was great fun. If I think of any more, I'll let you know.
Definitely. I mean, it sounds so much fun that you and the technical teams, as all together, they had such a great time. I want to know, like, how has it been like to work with Hazelight, with Joseph, and doing all these scenes together?
Oh, when I met the Hazelight team, it's always a kind of scary experience to meet a team for the first time.
Right.
You always want to make a good impression, but what really struck me with Hazelight is that they set the tone instantly. Joseph, in particular, coming in with this energy of like, "Hey guys, what's up? What do you want? What can I get you a drink? Coca-Cola? Yeah, we've got candies." Throws candies at us, and the almost like mother hen on crack energy. And when you have that to work with as a director, oh, okay, so professionally, the bar is that low. We can all just let our hair down, throw the pretense away, and just be real with each other. We get the work done, but there is none of that politics, and there's none of that, oh, yeah, I've got this coming up next. And no, it's just pure, genuine joy, fun, friendship. And I think that it's going to be a long time before I'm on another set like that, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that sounds great. I mean, yeah, Joseph is one of those guys who's like, as the internet has seen, as much as he has shown, he's one of those guys, like, I love his kind of like the motto that he says, we fuck shit up without fucking up. And it's like, he literally lives by that. And he is that, like, and so it's so cool to see. And there's so many places that I've seen him talk about how his energy gets, shared along everybody and with everybody. And that it shows. It's very infectious.
Really infectious. And you know what? I observe it in the whole Hazelight team. I would say that Joseph, he has this perfect balance of, it's not arrogance, but it's a confidence that is just so clear, and not like there's no pretense of like, oh yeah, it's going to be great. He's like, no, this game is going to be amazing, and you guys are amazing, and we've got the best team, we've got the best animators, we've got the best designers, everything's going to go great. This person's like he'll brag, but in this way that is just so honest that it doesn't feel arrogant whatsoever. And as a result, you can see that the whole team is bolstered by it. Everyone, when we're having lunch, they're talking like, you can see it in the way they hold themselves, that they know their worth and they know what they're doing here, and they know that they're a part of something really special. And I think that's partly why Hazelight has been so successful, because you have a leader who is instilling in every employee the belief that they will be doing great things here.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's so good. And that's one of the things that now everybody, including me, like, we have to protect Hazelight Studios as much as we can as we get new games. And I'm curious, like, before even, like, once you joined this game and this project, did you know anything about what Hazelight has done before, or video games in general before?
So I hadn't heard of Hazelight, and when I was getting the auditions for it, I looked into It Takes Two, and it looked incredible. And games wise, I never had Xbox, PS5, anything like that growing up. So I was mostly playing on the computer, and I was playing those like in web games. So Neopets, that era. I don't know if you
Okay.
know Pop Tropica or Zoo
Yeah.
Paradise or like Pet Society. I was one
Hmm.
of those bitches. And I loved that shit. And I
Oh.
think as soon as middle school, high school started, I think I just married my studies.
Oh
I could
no.
find all of those, and I never got back into it. So when I booked this job, we downloaded It Takes Two, and I'd been playing it on the Xbox while doing Split Fiction. Um, yeah, so I was learning how to use a console properly for the first time. So that was very interesting. But now I think I'm not so bad, you know.
Hey, look at that.
Bad.
Perfect. Not so bad. That's
No.
beautiful. Already a gamer, you already got into that zone. That's really cool. It's the game now. Split Fiction is so fantastic, so much fun, and the relationship between Mio and Zoe grows up towards the end, and they become friends. They become best friends.
Mm.
I'm curious, like, has that been reflected in the real world between you and Elsie?
Yeah, 100%. I think the weird thing with Elsie and me in comparison to obviously Zoe and Mio is that we became friends very quickly. And I think actors in general, when you're doing a job, you have to might be falsely or not, but you have to throw your trust at this person in order to make the scene work. And and because that happened very quickly, I would say the evolution of our friendship has been getting to know each other more deeply, seeing each other across 3 years, where there have been ups and downs and changes. You know, it's like so much has happened in Elsie's life, in my life that we've shared together, that we've experienced together. And I'm not sure if Elsie would feel this way, but I definitely felt like I've grown a lot in these 3 years working with Hazelight in confidence. And it's when you have a friend who's observing that, I think that does create a very special bond. But also just it's just so much fun with Elsie, as annoying as she is. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, those
I mean, yeah, I
are my
can
top
see.
points.
I can totally see the bond that you guys have. You guys totally respect each other. I can totally understand. I can see that. Yeah, I think you guys respect. But it's really, um, but
It's in the contract.
it's in the contract. You have to
It's in the
talk good
contract
about it.
that we respect each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can totally understand that. Hopefully that contract lifts up. But no, it's such a fun to see how much banter that goes on. I've seen some behind the scenes that Elsie has shared, and some of the moments that on her story. I've seen some
Oh,
very
the
few
videos.
specific.
I was like, what does she share with you that she hasn't shared with me? Oh,
The level of fear that you had in your face, like, what
because
the
she's
fuck
got
did
a
you?
lot. She's got a lot on me.
One of the things that I remember you talking about is you played a monkey and then you had to motion capture as monkey.
Yeah.
Is how much of did you like to get to see like what how to do that monkey thing? And that's something that you had already had in your mind, or did you try to bring your Andy Circus energy into it?
No, so this Joseph threw it on me on the day. He comes in with the bionic arms. He's like, so um, you don't have to do this. We might get someone else to mocap this for you, but I just thought maybe you want to try. And I was like, maybe I would want to try. No, ain't nobody else gonna be mocapping this for me. I will do this myself. I really wanted to do it. And essentially the process was we were in the volume where we do all the motion capture. And there's this large TV screen which live shows you what Mio and Zoe would be looking like. Obviously a very bare bones animation because there's none of the detail. But you know, it when we move the like Mio or Zoe moves, and already the ape that Mio was to become was prepared and on the screen. So I could see what it looked like if I was stood, if I was and it was just about a half an hour, maybe 20-minute workshop of me prowling around this volume, being like, okay, so if I like poke my butt out a bit more, the animation does that. I'm not sure if we're a fan of that, but what if I like kind of tuck in my pelvis? And everyone's like, yeah, and like try roll your shoulders a bit more. I'm like, yeah, okay. And it's like left foot, left arm, right arm, and that's all it was. And that made it to the game, so clearly it wasn't that bad of a job.
Oh,
But it was very in the moment. Let's figure it out together as a group, and it was so much fun.
wow, wow! I cannot believe that it just happened out of nowhere. Like here it is,
Here,
try it out, and It works.
Dance monkey dance. That's what it was.
Yeah, here's your banana now dance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so goddamn cool. And I was really surprised to see that because I was playing you, I was like, oh, I'm becoming a monkey. That's cool. And my friend was like, why do you get to be a monkey? I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's just how the character
It's
is. And so
fun. It is
it's
fun.
fun.
But Elsie gets to be a fairy and a
She gets
tree
to be a
god,
fairy
which
and a
I
tree.
think is pretty sick. Yeah.
It definitely is very much sick. And you know that you get to be a pig, a monkey, ride a dragon. And I'm curious, like, what is your favorite? Is it being a monkey or being a pig?
You know what? Playing the monkey was more fun because I actually got to motion capture it. When we were
Right.
doing the pigs, I lobbied for us to get the bionic arms out and like do it on all fours again. I lobbied, but they were like, it's not necessary because the pigs are animated so differently. So we just did the scene stood up like per people, and it apparently, is caught in the pig stuff. So it was more fun to do the monkey, but I would say that as a player, the pig world is just it's top notch, and especially the way that it ends.
You mentioned like how you work with the team and Joseph, and I'm wondering like what is has been the best piece of direction that you have received from Joseph, whether it's a scene for Zoe or any other scene in general.
I would say one thing that does stick out to me is when we started working on Split Fiction, the first shoot that we did, Elsie might have mentioned that her character had an American accent. And Mio was a lot harsher than she is in the final game. And, we did this first shoot. We came back 2 months later, and Joseph was like, we're actually going to reshoot what we did because we want there to be a clear distinction between the two. So they asked Elsie to go to her natural accent. And then they were like, with Mio, we don't want to risk her becoming the antagonist really early on and pushing away the players a bit, being unlikable for the players. So they softened her character a little bit, and I think that's when Mio finally was finalized as character in the sense that we figured out what the heart of it was. She wasn't angry for the sake of being angry. She wasn't just mad about her father's condition or her money troubles and like the helplessness that she feels in her life. She's just really scared. Like she's a terrified little girl. And once we found that, it all made sense, and the dynamics between Mio and Zoe suddenly made a lot more sense as well. So I thought that was a really good change from Joseph.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that works. And now I want to know like how the harsher version of Mia would look like. Like
Yeah, I
guys.
can't even remember it. Like I
Hmm.
can't I can't imagine Mio being any harsher than she is in the game. But I think it really was quite hostile, to be honest. I
Wow,
remember
so
auditioning with that hostility. Like everything that Zoe said, Mia would shut down.
jeez. Okay.
And
So
it's
we
that's a lot.
that's a lot. Yeah. So we were at one point playing as the antagonist and the protagonist team up, I guess then.
Yeah.
That's not okay. Crazy.
Yeah.
There's the one of the things that you guys have always mentioned, like in the interview that I saw with Hazelight as well, where you guys have fallen down so many times in the scenes, and you guys were counting how many times you've fallen down. Do you have any idea how many that number of times you actually have fallen down in the entire process
Do you think you mean like falling in performance
in
capture? Like
performance capture? Yeah.
it's got to be in the realm of 150 to 200, I'd say, across 3 years. There was definitely one day where I think we fell 30 times, 40
Oh my
times.
God.
And it
In a
was it
day.
was it was ridiculous. But I think it's just because we need 3 or 4 takes of each scene,
Right.
and a lot of the scenes transitioning between levels, going through the glitches, the side stories, we're propelled. So if at the end of one level there's an explosion behind you and the force of it is pushing us into the glitch, we've got to come out with that force.
Right.
Uh, so yeah, we've practiced our falling technique.
Is there a scene that you remember the most, like something that sticks out to you the most after shooting?
Sticks out to me. I loved doing the monkey, but I think a scene that really meant a lot to me was actually the scene where Zoe meets Ella right towards the end of the game, and for me, it's the moment that Mio grows up. That's the moment in the game where Mio steps up as a friend, really. She sees that Zoe is terrified and grief stricken and needs to have this moment of connection with Ella, but is too terrified to do that. And Mio decides to reach out to Ella first and prep Ella, speak to her a bit, and encourage Ella to go and find Zoe. And I loved playing that because it was a new feeling. And playing that after doing 3 years of motion capture as Mio, where she's got this hard exterior and she's compensating for so much all the time, for that all to melt away in that moment and the clarity of my friend needs help. And what does that look like? And what does she need from me? And it came from a vulnerable place. And I really, really loved exploring that. Um, yeah, yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I love the fact that she was when Zoe kind of like was not able to do it. Yeah, she was the one who stood up like and she just went forward to meet
Mm,
Ella and just tried to do something so that probably can help Zoe move on and help out. So that was very cool. That whole segment, that whole moment was really strong for me. And I think one of the things that I really loved about Mio was kind of a little bit before that. It's her story where she is like, it's her kind of like subconscious part where she finally hugs Zoe, which I thought was like, oh my God, that is something that she would not do, but she did for the first
yes.
time. And,
Yeah.
was talking about how, like, oh, this is how it feels to have a friend. And that was a wonderful moment.
I think with that hug, are you talking about right after Dark Mio is
Yes,
defeated?
yes, yes.
That hug, I think that's the hug of someone who's been so scared to be hugged for years because
Mm.
she knows that as soon as someone gets close enough for that, she'll have a breakdown. And we can convince ourselves that we have our shit together. But sometimes all it takes is someone to go, "Are you okay?" and really ask and really look you in the eye and signal that they'd be there to hear you out. All it takes is that for that exterior to melt and suddenly you're in a puddle of tears and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I think Mio realizes that she's been pushing away intimacy with Zoe and with people in her life, not because she doesn't want intimacy, but she's terrified of being vulnerable and being seen to be as weak and scared and as baby as she is. And that's the moment when she realizes that she can find intimacy and vulnerability and that be okay and that not be a weakness. Yeah, I don't know. That's a special hug that it is.
Yes, that is a special hug. And you mentioned about Dark Mio. I want to know how fun was it to channel the dark side?
It was so fun. It was so fun. We did some workshopping around the voice. We we went in many different directions, but we landed on something quite witchy. We didn't want her to be just, out of this world, pure evil, like monster, wicked person. We wanted there to be an element of her humanity in there as well. And therefore her grief, her fear, her jealousy, her like vengefulness, all rooted in Mio's humanity were had to be there. But then to have that like grief of, you were I was your only friend, saying that to Mio alongside the witchy, breathy, like cackle, I thought that was really fun. And I lost my voice doing that. 8 hours of Dark Mio is tough on the vocal cords.
You mentioned like you guys would be playing the game sometimes. Like I know Elsie also mentioned that maybe you and Elsie together will be playing it. Is that happening sometime soon?
We'd love to do that. We're just trying to figure out the logistics because she lives in Sheffield, which is a few hours away from me. Um, yeah, we'd need to figure it out. I also would need to figure out the technology of how the you guys do your streaming stuff because that's some dark magic voodoo to me.
Jaxa,
Uh,
yeah.
so I'm gonna shoot you a text after this for some advice. But yeah, we're thinking of doing that. We're thinking of maybe compiling a video at least of us doing that.
Oh.
Editing out all of the failure because we're so good at gaming. We're so good at it.
Wow, it's gonna be
I
super
think
fun.
it'd be fun. I think it'd be really fun.
Definitely. I think I know like a lot of people or some people were talking about like, oh, it would be lovely to see the actors' reactions on some of the gameplay stuff and them like having a fun time, they would really love to see that.
Yeah. I get my question to them would be, would they want to see us play our own characters or would they want us to play each other? Because
Hmm.
that would be fun.
That,
I
ooh,
want to play
yes.
Zoe.
Ah,
Yeah,
yep. Zoe has been picked already. Oh my God.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
When people are saying, I like I get on with Zoe much more. I really relate to her positivity. Same girl. I'm also playing Zoe. Yeah, I see you. I hear you. I see you. I agree.
wow. I mean, would you think like if you would be playing and doing like playing Zoe and let's say Elsie is playing Mio, would you role play as these characters?
Yeah, probably. Just to take the piss out of each other, though. Let's be real.
That would be, oh my God, that would be so epic to see.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'll be saying cool as a camel the whole way through. Yeah.
cool as a camel. That's a great line. There's so many obviously incredible moments. Is there, like you mentioned, cool as a camel is Zoe's, but is there a line that you remember the most of Mio's?
Yes. Taste my blade.
Oh,
Taste my blade. That is the yes. It inspired a lot actually. We were figuring out the like parting gifts for the Hazelight team, and cool as a camel and taste my blade really inspired us. And so Elsie quickly, I'm just trying to okay, here it is. Elsie quickly designed us as our characters, and that's me. Taste my blade. Just
wow.
and we put that on a mug for the sound engineering team that did all the voiceovers, in-game voiceovers with us, and that's Elsie cool as a camel. So
Perfectly. I
those two lines really stuck with us.
that is perfect picture description of how the characters are.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Brilliant. Oh my God. Like as you mentioned, like 3 years of your life that you worked on this game.
Mm.
You gave so much to Mio. In turn, Mio learned so much from you. Is there something that you learned from Mio?
Yeah, I definitely again, it's all that stuff about the hard exterior and how it's all compensating for a fear of being seen.
Hmm.
And I think playing around with that characteristic, if I see it in someone else, I have a lot more patience for them now. Because no one wants to be spoken to rudely. No one wants to be pushed away in the way that Mio often pushes Zoe away at the start of the game. It's not pleasant to be around people like that. But to see that it's not because they dislike you, it's because they probably dislike themselves. And I have a lot more patience for that now. And I can see when I'm doing it myself in my own life, I go, oh, okay, I have that in me as well. And that I've really enjoyed playing Mio for that, to be able to learn that lesson and to see that at the end of the day, like no matter how tough someone presents, everyone just wants to be loved in their own way, you
Right.
know.
Wow. That is real powerful. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's so cool to see that you get to experience so much of that, and I get to also like as players, I got to also get to see like okay, yeah, I can understand how a person like this is and like how they go by and how it's different to kind of like interact with them. And now like you said, like I understand and I have the patience now to maybe deal and or like talk and converse in a little bit better way, hopefully. And that is
Um,
wonderful things that we get to learn from a video game. I'm just always blown away that you're learning these humane things from a video game that is about
it's so interactive,
it
it's
is.
gaming is far more interactive of an experience compared to film. Maybe theater sometimes it's because you're all in a room together at the same
Mhm.
time. That maybe is a very, very strong example of interactive learning. But I think that when you have to play and act and do on behalf of a character, you end up understanding them in a way that you might not with film because you're observing from a more like outside critical lens. So I get it. I get why people are moved by it. And a lot of the fans that are texting me or messaging me on socials or wherever they find me are sharing how moved they are by Mio's backstory, Mio's challenges. I think a lot of people in this day and age can relate to Mio because she just feels backed into a corner by social issues, finances, um, the responsibilities placed on a single child caring for a sick parent. And these are all universal things that a lot of people will understand. And if you play the game and you have experiences of that, I can only imagine how validating it is to see a storyline and a character like that.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that I love about games now is like there's so many these stories that connect with so many of these people and all these players because they are from different variety of storytelling. Do you think right now at this point you would be much more inclined towards video game roles?
Oh yeah, I think one thing I've found is that the games world is so kind. Everyone is welcoming us with open arms all the time. And yeah, split fiction was one of my first jobs in games. But the very first job I did was a very small role in Cyberpunk.
Yes.
And I didn't even know that I was doing a voiceover for Cyberpunk. Because it was NDA'd to shit. I didn't know
Yeah.
what I was doing. All I knew was that I was playing a child and I had to put on this like child's voice. And we did the voiceover, and the director was like, "Yeah, so you know what this game is, right?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Oh, so it's Cyberpunk," and I was like, "Oh," and the blaseness of it, and it came out, and it is a really small part, but the excitement that I got from friends who played the game, who found me in the world, it's
Right.
been exciting, and I would love to continue doing games. It's most of the work that I do now is voiceover for games at the minute, so. Can't
Wow.
get rid of me just yet, is all I'm saying. Yeah.
Wow, that yeah, Emma Lee is I think the character that you played in Cyberpunk. I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
exactly.
Yes, so interesting. Yeah, the small role, like it's a really cool role. How she was very excited to be there. It was like really cool to see how like oh you played this a little girl and now you're in this lead role in this game.
Yeah.
Is there a particular kind of game that you would like to get in, kind of story you like to get in, a genre maybe that you would love to be in if a video game like that exists?
I have to say that I think split fiction is exactly that.
Okay.
It has fulfilled so many ambitions of mine, so many goals, creative goals of mine. So I think that's it. And I would love to do more stuff like this, narrative driven characters, character driven stories and plots, things like that. Maybe I'd love to do some more action stuff as well. I'd love to do more creature work. If anyone wants me to do another monkey, I will. I've practiced. I know.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd love that. And I'd love to play a villain. I'd love to play like a capital V villain at some
Mm,
point in the game.
that would be lovely. That if I saw like the small portion of it was in Dark Mio, I would love to see like the extended, fully
Yeah.
fleshed villain that you cannot get rid of. That would be
Yeah.
great to see. Oh, I can only imagine. There are some questions from the fans that we would
Mhm.
like to answer. First comes from Gaming Professor Somik. They ask, how much of the story did you know in advance, and the twists and turns did it surprise you when you were recording it?
So when the first time that we went to Hazelight, they gave us a full overview of what the plot would be. They told us about Mio's um, driving challenge around her father's illness and her financial troubles, and they told us about Zoe's grief and the loss of her sister. They told us that by the end of the game we would have explored those and worked past those traumas in a way in our subconscious levels, and that there would be different stories along the way. So we had the broad structure. There were plenty of surprises along the way. At some point when we were maybe a year, 2 years into the motion capture, Joseph drops like, "Oh yeah, at some point you guys are going to be teeth," and I was like, he's
My
like, "Yeah, you guys are going to be teeth." And the end of the level, the dentist like drills a hole into your head,
oh
and I'm like,
my God.
and I was like, "I can do a tooth audition for you right now." And he's like, "What does that look like?" And I just go, all fours, like, "This is my molar, and this is my canine, and I will do anything to play this part." He's like, "Oh, I don't know if you guys are gonna mocap it." And I'm like, "You gotta make it happen, Joseph." So there were lots of surprises along the way. We didn't know too much about the Monkey King level with the dance. The we didn't hear the voices of the bosses until, of course, later when they were added in. So the Ice King being this like absolutely fabulous purring creature. It was also like these were all nuggets of excitement that we discovered as the game progressed, as the
Wow.
production.
Next comes from Asanbro 3000. They ask, what is your favorite character that you really wanted to play? It could be anything from games, movies, superheroes, you
Mhm.
name it.
Okay, I see. So would this be in something that has already come out? So it's not like I can.
It could be anything, to be
Hmm.
really honest, you know?
Um, I would say in terms of things that are out that I would love to be a part of in the future, shows like White Lotus, obviously,
Ah, yes.
Severance, obviously, anything in the realm of Bong Joon-ho. I'd love to be a part of uh, dark comedy, social commentary, satirizing like something, whether it's the ultra wealthy elite or satirizing the political world. I'm really interested in stories like that. Succession is another good example. And you know, in theater, there are so many characters that I'd really love to play. I'd love to eventually play Lady Macbeth, but I think that's a few years from now. I think if I get cast as Lady Macbeth now, I'll be like, hmm. I was thinking like a while from now, not
Yeah.
now. Um, I'd love to play Irina in Three Sisters by Anne
Wow.
Fontaine. I love the ambition of that character. Yeah, so that kind of world, I'd say, lots of exciting things on the way.
Lots of exciting things. Sounds amazing. I hope that you get a chance to get to be all of these characters at some
Yeah.
point. That would be wonderful. Next comes from Life is a Game. They ask, what part of Mio was your favorite?
What part of Mio was my favorite? The part where, as we talked about earlier, where she begins to soften up and she begins to realize that she's in safe hands with Zoe. Mio is like a cat, you know. The the forward momentum of Zoe scares her away. And it takes Mio time to realize that she can approach without being bitten and she can approach without getting slapped on the wrist. And I really enjoyed the process of testing the relationship with Zoe and be like, am I that? Can I come close now? Is this safe? And that was really fun. That was a really fun, exciting, dangerous feeling almost, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I loved it. Loved every single part of it. This is so cool. Um, just Nick asked, how did you get into the voice acting in video games?
How did I get into it?
Yes.
Huh. So I the first voiceovers I ever did, I was 17 and I was in Hong Kong. And it was basically my first ever paid acting work, which was really, really cool. And it was dubbing work. And I therefore knew that I wanted to do voiceovers. And it wasn't exclusively for video games. I just knew I was interested in it. Dubbing, animations, things like that. Uh, one year I decided that I was sick and tired of all my side jobs to support my acting work and that I wanted to really focus on getting into voiceovers. And it was a weird uh, manifestation. I don't know if you believe in that destiny thing, where I said out loud, my New Year's resolution this year is to be represented by a voiceover agent by the end of the year. My tactic is always to set a really low bar goal because if you achieve it, great. You know, so my only objective was to have a voiceover agent at some point in the year. And a week later, my voiceover agent now messages me on Instagram and is like, "Oh, we're in need of young East Asian voices in our agency, and I'm wondering if you'd be interested in being repped by us." And I was like, "An agent's never going to write to me on Instagram. This is a scam." So I ignored the message. I didn't even look into the company. And so a friend of mine was like, that looks pretty legit. Let me search them up on LinkedIn. And they were legit. So I wrote back to them, and the rest is history. I got in with them. Split Fiction, I got cast in around the same time with my acting agents. And then just from there, I get an audition for Cyberpunk, my first audition with them. I book it. And then I get an audition for Foam Stars, the second audition with them, and I book it. And
Damn.
I think it just went like that. Yeah, very, very. It was meant to be. I think. I love this work, and I love the community, and I love telling these stories. I love how involved the audience has to be in these stories as well. So yeah, I'll be around. I'm not going.
Yes. Hell yeah. I'd love to see more other roles that you get to be a part of. That's so cool to hear like you set your mind into like I want to get this and you got these and then more so. And that's so
Yeah,
amazing. That's really inspiring, really.
yeah. I don't know what it was. It was like the universe conspiring to make it work. But we can say it's luck, but I also think it's a lot of preparation. It's years and years of preparation. It's years of practicing accents and going to training, and then it just needs to be triggered in the right moment, right time, right place. Um, so here I am.
You are and lovely. It's wonderful to see here at this point, and you have done such incredible work. And I'm so excited to see there's more, and I'm sure there's more. So it's going to be great. One last question comes from Andre B. Venom. They asked, how
Ooh.
with how successful the game is, would you be willing to get more into gaming space? Which you already talked about that you will be getting into
Yeah,
more into video games.
100%. Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, I would love to. I'm really up for it. Yeah, I've got already a few things that I'm voicing over in the pipeline that will be announced shortly. So that will be really exciting.
That is
Yeah.
exciting. Is there any? I know you mentioned like you played like some of the old, like much older games, but is there a game franchise that you know, remember the name of that you'd be like, oh, that would be nice place to go?
I don't have anything in mind. I
Hmm,
don't know the games world well enough, I would say.
makes
Um,
sense.
GTA 7, 10 years from now, I'll be there.
Perfect answer. GTA 7 it is. Rockstar, I've heard you. Yes. Just the studio I've heard. Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh, you know what? I haven't answered that question. I'd love to be in Hazelight next game. I'd love to. I'm campaigning for it, actually. Elsie and I are gonna continue knocking on that door as much as we can.
But yeah, that would be great. I think as far as I've heard, like Joseph is and the team is already working on the next game.
They are.
So I'm like, I mean, you guys are something could happen. I would love to see.
Who knows? They love a
Who knows?
cameo. That's all I'm gonna say. They love a cameo.
They love a cameo. Yeah, that'd be great. Oh my God. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time, Kaya, for today, talking about all of this. This has been wonderful. You're amazing. And the work that you've done is fabulous. So cannot wait to see more. And thank you for
Thank you
everything.
so much. And before you go, I have one question for you.
Oh, for
You
sure.
played Neo.
Mhm.
What was your favorite part about playing Neo?
Oh, it was nothing.
No, I'm
uh,
genuinely curious. What was your experience of playing Neo?
Oh, playing really Mia for me initially it was I think was the same way as how Joseph was initially scared of like oh probably will be put off too much and I was like okay she's not the one who's being friendly she's the one who want to stay away
Mm,
gets a little bit annoying initially I was like oh she is not like expanding on anything she's like no small talk we're just gonna move
yeah.
but I initially like eventually knew like okay that is probably the character with the most depth in it. So I was very curious to know what's going to happen, and that's why
What
I
is
wanted to stick in because I immediately from the get go knew she was a badass person, especially when she became the ninja, like
That's
the sword.
right.
That's right. And when she got the sword and all that, I was like, "This is it. I'm definitely not changing this character. I'm not switching. I'm gonna play and see the whole journey." So yeah, the
You hear that,
moments
Elsie? Take that. Take that.
there's so much love and respect between these two. It's lovely.
So, but was there a particular level where you found, okay, I've broken through that exterior. I know what she's about, or would you say it was right at the end with Dark Mio?
I think it was yeah, I was actually right towards the end. I really wanted that moment. I was like really waiting for a moment where she
Or
finally whatever the exterior is has melted and she's walked through it. And that was the moment where I finally saw, oh, she literally just walked through that and like that cage or whatever it is. And I was so that's why that's one of my favorite moments is like she finally accepts it, hugs her, and it's just that warmth in me. And I was like, this is so cool. I was literally
yeah.
smiling and so I was waiting for that moment to happen and I got it. I was like really cool.
I'm glad that landed because it takes so much courage to decide that this persona that you've adopted for a long time is no longer useful, is no longer serving you. So that moment moves me a lot. So I'm glad that it registered.
Is there something that you would like to say to the fans?
I would just like to say thank you. Thank you so much for all of the excitement, the buzz, the love that we've been receiving has been phenomenal. I'm browsing the comment sections of the reels. I'm watching everyone's reactions. I am looking at the fan art, just so you're all aware. So bear that in mind. I know, and I seriously, it's been I feel so privileged to be a part of this community now and to be part of this really special thing, I think. Um, yeah, keep letting me know what you think. Let me know what your favorite part of the game is. And if you hate me, oh, that's fine. That's cool.
Yeah, it's your problem. Like I don't know why you're hating. But yeah, it's
No, no, like everyone has been beyond kind, and people have been sharing their stories with me, and that's what this is about. It's bringing people together.